Evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. Oh, yep, screens are right. Cool. And yeah, what's up to one to go to? And Patrick, how's it going? How is your Saturday? Saturday. How's it going? It's just another day that ends in Y for me. But I mean, if it's a weekend day or if you did something special, let us know about it. If it was just a regular day, that's good too. If nothing bad happened, that means it's a great day. Patrick says, evening, Nikki and everyone. Hope you're all well. Yeah, doing pretty good. Yeah, went to go to, made it. Nice. Yeah, I'm just going to let folks file in a little bit before I start doing the review thing. And I am going to be shouting out everybody who's donated to the channel since it was announced there was going to be a meetup for Frankly's in New York. I'm going to shout those folks out today. And then I'm planning on New Year's Day next month to just shout out everybody who's ever super chatted to the channel just to let them know they're all appreciated. Patrick said, Nikki met John Otter in Frank's chat and he sends you his best. Yeah, John Otter's cool. He's been around for a minute. Thank you. Yeah, he does call in kind of often, so you can like even I can sort of put a voice to the handle, which, like I mentioned before, it's hard for me to do even after all these years. But he calls in just often enough, and Frank does say his full name when he calls in that I can put it together. Like, hey, that's that guy. Yeah, thank you. He's been around. He's a cool guy. I don't know exactly how long, but it's been a while. He's not always in the YouTube chat room, so I just, whenever somebody's not on YouTube, I just assume they're either watching on a different platform. Maybe they have to watch it after the fact, but they do keep up so they know what's going on, even if we don't physically see them. That's awesome. I do know it wasn't scheduled, but it's like a couple minutes after I signed off of here. I actually was on YouTube and I saw Frank was live, and I was like, how? I didn't get a notification. And literally a minute later, I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot YouTube's at least a minute late with notifications. Like, well, thank you. It's not just lying to me. What's up, Art? I'm glad you made it. How was I was just thinking about you and Wally. How's the new granddaughter getting along? Does she have a favorite YouTuber yet? I don't know how to relate to children. They're just tiny people to me that can't speak English yet. It's frustrating being around a 1 year old because I know they want to communicate. They just don't have the words for it. So I felt like this. I was just around somebody's kid. I just felt like this little boy was just frustrated. Like, I can see in your face you have something you want to say, you're just too young for words, and I don't know, like baby speak. You're not a cat. I can't connect with you. Like, I'm sorry, dude. We're not gonna get through this. I'm just not a kid person. Arna, she's great. A bit over a week old, mostly asleep. Yeah. That's the best thing. They're supposed to sleep as much as they can, so they grow up big and tall. So let them zonk out as much as they need. They say that kittens are they don't open their eyes for about the first 2 weeks, give or take, but after about 10 days they start dreaming. And I had brought this up to my friends. They were Franklies, like back 10 years ago. So I brought that up to them. I'm like, if a kitten can't see yet, but he's dreaming after 10 days, what is he dreaming about? I just thought I was asking a random ask rhetorical question. Right away, somebody answered, world domination. I said, you know what? That's perfect. No more answers. That's the perfect one. Oh, what's up, John Rogers? Glad you made it. Awesome. Yeah, everybody, come in, grab a seat. Your pants should still be on the floor from yesterday. It's getting cold though. I did not open the window at all. I was even under the covers. Like, no, it's just a little bit too cold. But I'm too stubborn to put on long sleeves yet. So I'll just lay under the blanket for an hour. That's fine, as long as it's not snowing. Arden said, yes, about 2 weeks, babies really wake up. Yeah, like she just got here, so she's got to get used to like the sounds are different, the temperatures are different. There's food now. It's not solid food, but it's not the like the tube food. So there's, I guess there's not chewing involved yet. It's all new. Oh, one to go to F, yes. Just finished a Caesar salad, and thankfully my headache is dissipating. Oh, good. Yeah, if you have a headache, drink some water, eat something if you can. A lot of times that's what it is. Usually hopefully that's what it is, and that cures it. That's how it is for me. If anything goes wrong, if it's not a lower backache, it's a headache. I'm sort of prone to them, so I have to live my life in such a way that I don't get them. So yeah, just cold. If again, I know Frank did go live yesterday. I was not. What did I do? I think it's a new light bulb in there since yesterday, and I think it just must have been affecting my eyes too much after my show because I had to sit like I had the TV on, but I had the light off, and I just had to stay that way for about an hour, and just kind of sleepy the rest of the night. But I hope folks there had fun and everything. Nothing got broken or spilled or what kind of drinks they have. I know, say at the studio, it's not a bar. I don't know if it's a situation where you can serve liquor to that many people. Maybe there's liquor licenses and things involved, so maybe it had to be like virgin drinks all night. But the place where they're at tonight is a bar, so I would imagine if anybody's gonna get rowdy or fall out, it would be there. I mean, I hope they don't don't embarrass yourself and make folks have a bad time having to step over your unconscious self. Don't do it like this. Like one time we went to the bar, my friend and I, 10 p.m. maybe. Alrighty, here's some dude. Like his head's down, he's got his arm over somebody else's. Like his buddy's trying to carry him out. This dude can barely walk. He was wearing plaid too. I thought that was odd. Plus, I went to the gay bar. I'm not gay, but my friend is, and they play better music. So that's where I was. We listen to dance music, and we could do our party favors out in the open, so to speak. Not like, hey, who wants some? But you could do a bump and nobody would notice. Plus, there were bathrooms. It was just like being at my friend's house, more people. But I heard we don't have gay bars anymore. Like we had the one I went to, it was way downtown. It closed down. Maybe the owner died. Club Eccentricities, like really just dive bar, hole in the wall. We're good people though. And then like sort of like up the block and around it's like you go up a street and over one, and then there was a place called the Crowbar. I was only in there maybe twice. Every surface was mirrors almost, so that really just made me want to I want to do a bump, dude. You can't show me all these mirrors like this. But then I heard that closed down too. Plus, I heard it was a lesbian bar. I'm like, oh, I'm not about that. But I heard that's not even open anymore. But that's fine. I'm not a drinker. I don't dance, so I don't meet people at bars. So there's no reason. I'm not in my 20s anymore. There's no point in going to that. But yeah, that was almost every weekend back in the day, just kicking it, or right after work, whatever it was. When I should have been online on YouTube in 2005 and 6, I was wasting my time out in the real world with people. I regret it now because a lot of those folks, most of them, all of them, I've had to cut out of my life because they just turned to needles and things that I don't get into, and then if you're into heroin, suddenly you're into stealing from your friends, and you can't let a junkie in your house because they're going to steal, so can't be around those people. I should have been online. Hindsight. That's okay. You wish them well, and hope they get off the junk and stop stealing, or if they're in jail, hopefully they get out and clean themselves up and all that stuff. I understand that addiction demon. I haven't been a heroin addict, but I know what it's like to just be chasing that high, and absolutely nothing else matters. And then one day I just realized, like, I'm just living my life in a constant loop, to just getting high, just going, I was spending my own money. I wasn't stealing nothing like that. If I was borrowing any money, I was returning it. I was an honest addict, junkie addict, whatever. Um, and I just realized I was stuck in a rut and things were changing, and I just had to get better, and I just stopped the stuff and got it together. I would do it again in a minute. Don't get me wrong. If they were still selling that stuff, oh hell yeah, I'd be buying some. It put me to sleep. It put me to sleep. So hell yeah, I would go buy some. I don't even care, but I know what it does to me, so I know not to go too far with it again. It's you do the drugs. Don't let the drugs do you. Like, who's in charge here? So I went, but before, I might have mentioned this, but I looked up if there is a dark mode option for Venmo or Buy Me a Coffee, and both time you look those things up, and the search results come back as LMFAO, get wrecked. It just does not exist. So I went back, I looked at both apps, and I just went back to, I know Frank announced that the Jamboree was going to be a thing in early May. So I just went that far back in Venmo and Buy Me a Coffee, and just wrote down names. Want to go to, have been watching Human Dilemma channel on Twitch. Junkies getting busted shoplifting. Sad to see. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. My buddy was he was my best friend my whole life growing up. Had to cut him out of my life. And that took about 3 years to really get over, because you still keep thinking about them when something comes up. But just had to cut him off. Well, what this person got in trouble for was they were stealing metals from their job. They worked in a factory, and then they took them to the scrapyard and sold them for cash. But I happen to know that when you turn in scrap, they get your ID. So him just going there, of course they had his ID. He got popped for that. So he got arrested, but since he was a junkie, instead of sending him to just regular jail, he got to go to rehab for it. I don't know how long. And then you're on, probation, and they made him take some kind of shot so he wouldn't be craving heroin, and it just made him gain some weight. But if you're a junkie and you can't do heroin, you just do other stuff, and he just did other stuff. So if you're not helping anybody by doing that. But I guess he got out, was on probation, or got off of probation maybe, and I don't know, maybe it's working now. He didn't die from it. I'm not wishing death on anybody just for being an addict or anything, even though he did steal from me. But you just hope they get better, and have to cut some people off, and wish them well. I wish it didn't happen, but they make their choice, and you can want the best for somebody as much as you want, but if they don't want it for yourself, you just have to, sorry, I gotta move this, just gotta let it go, wish them well. So these are in no particular order, just any super people who have super chatted into the channel since the beginning of May. I was just looking for a date, or specifically if anybody mentioned going to the event, to try to find it because it's light mode. And they're not all here right now, but a lot of folks do watch after the fact. So I do want to shout out Moon Bunny, Leanne, Patrick, Wally World, Lisa Gray, Dandy, Stosub, and Jenna. And I have had, other super chats before that. This is just specifically everything since May that was directed at me going. I mean, I would have used it all towards going to the event, but specifically these guys did. They did three things. They did want me to go to the event. They donated. But most importantly, and there's Dandy right now. What's up? I just shouted you out. Most importantly, they never made me feel bad for asking for help. Because I do feel like a bum asking for money when I don't have a product to sell. I don't have merch to sell. I don't have like hey, I can edit a video you for this. Like I don't have any like skills like that. So I just kind of do feel like I'm just busking with my head out, and I don't like that. But those people never made me feel bad about it. And I really don't want anyone's last memory of me to be of me begging. Doesn't matter if I pass away next year or in 100 years. I don't want anybody to think, oh yeah, the last time I talked to her, she was asking me for help to get to. I don't want that to be the last thought people have of me. Like I'd rather think of you think of me stumbling over my words and stuff I say in the chat room, not with my hand out. So yeah, you guys are awesome. But like I was saying yesterday, sometimes things just don't work out. Patrick, if you used to do heroin, you're a real heroine to give it up. Fair play. It seems like anybody who does do heroin, it's not their choice to get off of it. Like they have to. It's probably because they got arrested for it. And I just saw so many people that, like we used to drink, we used to smoke weed, do some pills, a little bit of powder. I was never a needle person. That's not, no, that's too, I mean, you can do it wrong. I love a buzz, not that much. I have my limits. So no, it's and like I've seen like intervention type shows. Here's this girl who every time she did heroin, her boyfriend shot her up, but he was refusing to do it because they were on camera. So she's seriously spending it like an hour goes by, 2 hours goes by. Dude's like this, and she's trying to find a. It's so disgusting, and just seeing all those people I grew up with, slowly all of them are just never minding anything else. They smoke cigarettes, but they're also all on heroin, so they got like the holes burned in the hoodie because they light a cigarette and then nod out, and then their cigarette burns the stomach of their hoodie, and then because they're just going through the motions and they're so fucked up. So just like me seeing that, I'm like, wow, none of these people seem happy. And every time I come over here to hang out, this is what I see. I need to get away from this. One to go to. He never reached out to me privately. He just likes to look good in public. Oh, Wally, yeah, thank you. Glad to contribute, but too bad you couldn't make the trip. Yeah, that's just how it worked out. I just was really not expecting prices to go up so much a year and a half ago when I left. I mean, I didn't have a choice when I left my job. I just had to. It was just that bad. But it's like if you're in a bad relationship, you just have to grab your dirty laundry and go. So I couldn't have like stayed any longer than I did. It just I would have budgeted differently, and then maybe I wouldn't have had to ask for help. But just due to the fact that transportation was going to be so much due to my lack of vision, just my eyes being so bad, that was a real hang up because I do have a car. I have been there before. I've got GPS on my phone. I could find it again, but it was just too much in the way and too short notice for myself. And that's just how it goes. But as long as everybody else had fun, that's good. And I don't think I'll be around for it, but I do know that Frank has already mentioned, like down the line in the future, he wants to do something like this again, possibly something more, maybe a night where he has different bands playing, more of like a concert than like folks standing around talking thing. It's because he is a musician, so of course he would want to put on something more like a concert. I get it. Oh, want to go to? Yeah. I mean, I told him when he was here, he needs to get a car like an adult. It's not safe to be for a person to be tense riding on the back of a bicycle going at, I don't know how fast those things go, but I don't trust that man. He fell out from almost having a heart attack one year because he doesn't think to sit in a damn car, and all that did was make all of the people who care about him worry about him, which is a dick move. That don't make people worry about you like that. Take care of yourself. Just because he doesn't value his life and wants to drive around on a super fast bicycle doesn't mean that's me. NT, glad you made it. Patrick, I smoked weed for years and just gave it up. Feel a lot better now, though. Yeah. And see, I wonder if the pickle boy wonder was there. If he's there today, I don't know where that guy lives at, but don't let him go to the. Don't let him get drunk, because then he's just gonna start swearing at people. That feels so abusive. Maybe he's more chill when the feng shui is better around him. It's maybe it's the energy directed down those stairs. That's got to be it, because that's how feng shui works. It's just think of feng shui as if air can circulate, feng shui can circulate. If you're in a room that makes you feel calm, that's good. If you're in a room that makes you feel agitated, it's bad. Like, figure out why it's agitating you. Maybe it's the lighting. It could be anything. One to go to. Yeah, he's a very the only times also dudes reached out to me privately since he decided to bring it up. Um when I did that pilled thing back in March, that's the only time I've ever been able to correspond with him through DMs successfully for something that was beneficial for myself. I'll have more to add to that if it ever gets brought up again. It's one thing to say something where everybody can see you, and then what you do about it privately is a whole nother thing. I'm just gonna set this off to the side, otherwise I'm gonna have like this yellow block in my face the whole time. Yeah, I'm just gonna set this over here. Didn't mean to leave you. I don't do any animations, so I don't have any. We'll be right back. Show is starting. Stream ending or stream starting soon. Link to merch. Link to membership. Link to super chat. Forgot what I said. Yeah, let's get into some Dark Shadows. We are on. Well, let me look at the recap first. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Quiet. Okay. So we're at. Well, before we start episode 20, the recap is that Carolyn brought Burke up to Collinwood. The one person nobody wants to see, she just brought up there, like, here he is, I swooped things over. And Burke was super nice. He insisted he doesn't have any beef with the Collins family, that's all in the past. He's just back in town because he grew up there. And Roger really wanted to believe him, and he kind of did, until he got in his car and ran off the road, smashed the side of it in, left wrist effed up, cut on his forehead. Now he thinks Burke did it. And he was just on his way. It's way late at night, and he's grabbed Victoria to come with him into town. They're going to the Collinsport Inn. He's going to confront Burke because Victoria saw Burke next to Roger's car holding a wrench. Then he has a car accident, so he wants Victoria there to say that she saw him with the wrench, so he cannot deny that. And he said, I miss the days where when somebody wanted to talk to you, they just had to come find you. It's so easy to get in touch with people now. It's disgusting how often they don't, because you can just pick up your phone, and I have to scroll through how many social media apps I'm on. I can be DM'd so many. I mean, like I'm mostly on like Twitter and Discord. But you can contact people so easily on your phone in a second, and people just don't and let their imaginations run wild. And then people still have the same kind of disagreements and misunderstandings they had before we had smartphones. So it's there's the phone's there to help, but just the people are not using it. Hell just moved. It's fine, it's fine. So episode 20, it is July 22nd, 1966. We are still on the second day. It is very late at night. And we're in town at the Collinsport Inn. Right down there in the lobby, it is Roger and Victoria. And he tells her to just, stay there, cool your heels. He's going to go up to speak with Burke first. And he doesn't want Burke to know that Victoria is there. So he just sits her down, like, just go sit down to the restaurant there. I'll call you up. Just chill out there, hon. Oh, I should have said, ever since episode 19, we are on disc 3. Yeah. And then every 3 discs, I will do a recap. The 3-disc system really only matters if you go by the DVDs. If not, it's just going to... It's not going to be every 27 episodes. I'll put it to you like that. So if the timing of that seems off, it's just because I'm following the DVDs, not the exact way it is on Tubi. And Tubi won't tell you this. So Victoria's hanging out there in the restaurant, and Sam invites himself to sit with her. And he's just being friendly with her. He's like, yeah, I hope I didn't, frighten you when we met. Where's Roger? And Victoria's suspicious of Sam. That the only time she saw him was there up on Widow's Hill, and he's calling Collinwood a house of tears and telling her about Josette Collins, and then tell Roger Sam was here, and then he wanders off. So that's how she knows him. But she just says, she only says that Roger has been in a car accident. She's not saying anything else. He was in a car accident tonight. Zips it. So Sam knows that Roger went up to see Burke Devlin. I think these people know each other well enough to know what each other's motivations are, so that they see somebody in a place, they kind of assume why they're there. Hey, Moon Bunny, what's up? Glad you made it. I shouted you out earlier. Yeah, travel safe. So up in Burke Devlin's room, he's surprised to see Roger injured, because again, he's got the actor's rib from about like the knuckles down here. His wrist might be in a splint too. It is rather stiff, so the actor's really not doing too much with his left hand. Like, get left hand's messed up, cut on his forehead. It's got a bandage on there. It's a pretty wide white, not Band-Aid brand name, but just bandage there. So Roger shows up, and he's acting like there wasn't even a car accident, like he's almost unfazed by it, because he just starts in about, well, what's that business deal you invited me to the Blue Whale to talk about? Well, let's talk about that now. If there even was a deal. And Burke's like, well, there was. I waited an hour and a half for you, but I see you're injured. It can wait until the morning. It's after midnight. But Roger insists on talking. So there we go. Burke says it's after midnight. That means we're in day 3. It only took 20 episodes. So now we're over at the Evans cottage. Sam comes home, picks up the phone, and it's ringing, picks it up, and it's Mr. Wells. We don't hear his voice, we just hear Sam's reaction. He's calling to ask if Maggie's okay, and Sam's just kind of mad that he's calling so late. So like call back at a decent time. Click. So this phone ringing, Maggie comes out. She is finally in her real hair. This girl is normally has brown. Well, we assume it's brown because these are black and white. She normally has brown hair. It's no more this short look. Like the hair was cute, but it was a little blonde wig. It aged her. It just made her look meaner. This is her real hair now and forever. It's gonna get cuter at one point. It's gonna get super 70s looking in the 70s, but this is her real hair. Thank you, thank you. And Patrick's going to the Tommy Robinson March next Saturday. Who is that? Is that like a politician or? It's a march, so I don't know why. I don't know. Will folks be waving the Union Jack flag around while they're out there? I don't know how people go to marches and protests. I just like I understand like showing up, but I just don't understand standing around out in the daylight and I'm not in line for a roller coaster. Oh well, he's like, that's excellent. Oh Beachy, I'm glad you made it. Yeah, smash that like button right meow. But Sam's pissed off that Mr. Wells called, and Maggie's like, no, 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 that's okay. I asked him to. And then Sam accuses her of checking up on him. And Maggie thought he'd skipped town when she came home and Sam was gone. So she looked for a suitcase. And apparently she faked having that headache so she could get home to look for that suitcase too. So that's what that was about. And she'd even called the Blue Whale looking for him. Oh, Patrick, 1 million plus going? That's going to be great. Nifty. Yeah, take some footage of people. Maybe Diane will be there. So back over at Burke Devlin's room. He's telling Roger that the deal was an offer to purchase the cannery. And Roger's like, Liz won't sell. There was no deal, was there? And then he accuses Burke of removing the valve from his car and then waiting at the Blue Whale for him. And Burke says, I never touched your car. So that phone's right there. So Roger just picks up the phone and, you send her up. Oh yeah, because the Blue Whale had a telephone. Yeah, they've got that telephone. It's way like if the jukebox is say on this side, then like way far against the wall. You almost don't even see that wall all the time, but way against the wall, almost probably where the edge of the set is. That's where the phone is. So since it's on the edge of the set, like you can have like the camera shoot most of the room and it wouldn't be in the shot. So they clearly know their placement. It's not like it's the first television show ever. Oh, okay. So we're back at the Evans cottage and QT service. I look very closely. Every single they're not using the same cups at every house. These are different from those cups that I like over that the Collinses have. But it's still a QT service. There's with cookies. Drinking tea and eating cookies after midnight. I can't imagine. It must be good. But Sam, he's sort of focused now. He's looking at all of his art supplies. He wants to sketch Widow's Hill early in the morning. And Maggie said she is starting to hate Colin Wood. And she mentions how Sam hasn't painted in years and everything's happening at once and she doesn't know what to think. And Sam is just not giving her any information to help her fill in the dots. She's just saying this stuff and he's just kind of paying attention to her. And then he says, "Are you going to have me followed during the day too?" And then he goes off about how she doesn't trust him. And he makes this big deal about it. And then, like, you can tell the way she's looking at him, she's not taking him seriously. And then he just smiles at her, and they're kind of, that's just kind of his way. He likes to yell and be dramatic and make a scene, and Maggie just smiles it off. So that's just, they're not really, it's not that he's mad at his daughter. That's just his way. He's been a drunk for 10 years. He gets dramatic. Oh my God, thank you. Patrick says, "This is a Saturday night staple for me now. Really love all you guys here." Oh my God, thank you so much. These are so much fun. I like that I think I've forgotten what it's like when Frank doesn't do a show because we never have to miss each other. I've almost completely forgotten about what it's like to have to go for, sometimes up to 5 days with no regular, quite frankly, and then we get to see each other again and be like, "Oh my God, there you are." So I don't know. I don't have to do anything else at 7 o'clock except be online. What I'm used to. I, and it's because you guys let me do that. It's because you guys show up and you guys let me do that. So, like, if I could hug everybody, I would seriously cry. That is so cool. Yeah, thank you for saying that. Like, I couldn't imagine not doing a live show. Like seriously, the power would have to be out and all kinds of. I'd rather be like, sitting in my phone, on my phone in the car on the McDonald's Wi-Fi. Like, here I am. Oh, what's up, Erica? Glad you made it. So Sam is just a dramatic fellow. But yeah, Maggie smiles it off. Sam smiles too. It's just his way. I get that. I can be big and sarcastic sometimes. I don't really like yelling at people's faces, or that's not my way. But Wally says to Patrick, "You're okay even if you're a Spurs fan." Arden says you bring us together. Oh, thank you guys. Oh, that's so sweet. It feels like Valentine's Day. Thank you. No, I don't celebrate that day. Don't be getting engaged or married on Valentine's Day. Just makes it seem like you don't care. I think Gaga did that. Didn't she get engaged the first time on Valentine's Day? Now she's on her second engagement. Anyways, back over at Burke Devlin's room. Now Victoria's up there. And she says she saw Burke with a wrench. So Burke says, "Oh, I do remember. I found the wrench on the front seat like he had told Victoria at the time." And then he tells Victoria, he's like, basically, I'll tell you like I told you when we met. Get the fuck out of Collinsport. Erica's asking if Jupiter Gulianello have acting credits. I found a weird site. Like we know he has done singing before. There's even footage of him on YouTube, like actually singing songs. He, I want to say he has done acting, but I don't know if it's like proper like TV or film, or if it was say like something independently made. I want want to say he hit like other than wearing like a giant like whatever a Barney suit, or that's not really it's performing, but that's not exactly the same. It is as like acting as a human. I'm sure she meant. Ugh. Like I want to say yeah, but it's no, with that man's age, he could have been on vaudeville and everything. So it's I'm not sure exactly where it could be him. It could be him. Just look for those teeth that he has. He's got those little fangs. He doesn't really look like anybody else. Maybe it's him. Maybe it's him. Next time he's at quite frankly, we'll have to be in the chat room like, hey, I saw you on IMDb. That's what you can do. Type in his. I don't know if even though if that's his real name, maybe it's a stage name, but just type in Jupiter Gulanello's real name in IMDb. Let's see what comes up. Maybe there's more than one. Erica acting and singing, yeah, because maybe even Frank played a video of him singing. But I know I want to say my brother is like, oh my god, you won't believe what I found, and it's Jupiter singing, I don't know, a Queen song or something like that. Erica says it's got to be him. It probably is. It probably is. Arden says this explains some of what happened before episode 310 when I started. Yeah, it's the way the characters interact now. You know, jump ahead 200 episodes. It's worlds apart for some of these characters. So I was watching the beginning, like, why are they mad? What? Oh, they get along? What's that going to change? Stuff like that. So now we're over at Collinwood in the foyer. Victoria and Roger have come back. And Victoria's just still not convinced. She's saying to Roger, like, are you really sure it's Burke that did this? And Roger's like, are you scared? And then he tells her, well, you can't go now because I need you here. Good night. Credits. All this stuff, like everybody wants her to leave, and now suddenly, oh, you have to stay. Okay, Roger, okay. All right, episode 21. We are officially on day 3. It is morning. This aired on July 25th, 1966. We're in the kitchen at Collinwood. Now, breakfast time. Victoria's in there. Carolyn comes in. And Victoria's like, what do you want? Toast or cereal? Like, girl, you're going to have to eat more than that for breakfast. Come on now. But she's kind of just zoned out, just thinking about death. And Carolyn calls it Roger's accident. She doesn't think Burke did it. Victoria says it wasn't an accident. And Carolyn, oh, that's what Mother said. Is this what Carolyn has? She's got 2 slices of toast. There's butter, there's jam, there's coffee, and juice for breakfast. That's not bad. That's something. That'll get you through a meal. So Roger has been pissed at Burke Devlin forever, and I'm still not sure why. It's coming up. It's coming out. They still don't get along. Oh. Patrick saying, Wally, it must be down to Arden who keeps you on the straight and narrow. Kudos, Arden. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm sure they balance each other out. So Victoria is telling Carolyn about that missing valve and that it had to be removed with the tool, and that she had seen Burke with a wrench right after he'd asked Roger to meet him in town. Carolyn's like, well, I guess I'm just a lousy judge of character. Victoria says, maybe. And Victoria's saying how they went to see Burke last night, and she just wanted to come to Collinwood to work and find answers. And Carolyn's like, what about Burke? Like, she does not give a fuck about Victoria and her past or nothing like that. Burke's name comes up, and suddenly a switch is flipped. She really does cut her off. So Roger accused Burke Devlin. Burke said no. Victoria believes him. So now we're over at Burke Devlin's room, and Bill Malloy is there. He accuses him of attempted murder, and he doesn't believe he's put the past behind him. Dude is not convinced. And Burke was over this with Roger last night. The Collins family are just people he knows. And then Bill is like, do you know Wilbur Strake? Because there were 2 weeks before Burke Devlin. No, Wilbur Strake was in town 2 weeks before Burke Devlin. And he never said that he was Burke's PI, private investigator. And Burke does not confirm or deny that. Bill Malloy's a little bit of a detective. He missed his calling. He's been on the boats. He should have been a cop. So back at Collinwood in the kitchen, a letter for Victoria arrives. And Liz comes in. She says Roger's feeling better. And doesn't care if Victoria thinks Burke is innocent. But Victoria believes Burke is innocent, but she could be wrong. She's open to that. And then Carolyn just feels so bad she brought Burke to Collinwood. She thinks, all this happened because of her. So over in the living room, phone rings. It's the constable saying he's on the way. And then Carolyn's still on about it. She can't believe that Burke's guilty. And Liz says, yeah, obviously you're defending a guilty man. Who would want Roger dead? And then she suggests that Carolyn goes away from Collinsport because Burke's going to cause trouble for the family by digging into the past. So Victoria comes in. She's got that letter she just received, and she gives it to Liz to read. And she asks her if she knows who would hire a private investigator to find out how she secured her job for the Collins family. So Carolyn thinks it could be Burke, and so does Liz. And Victoria asks if Liz thinks Burke is back to hurt Roger. And it implies that Liz is hiding something about her past. Just very subtly. But Liz, she just firmly denies it, and then she leaves. Like, no, that's not what's happening. Exits. So back in Burke Devlin's room, he says he sent that Wilbur Strake ahead to scope out business deals and see if the cannery was for sale over in Logansport. And the PI only asked about the Collins family because they own the cannery. Bill is not buying it. He says, you're a pretty smooth talker. But that's all he can do, so he's got to take off. And then Burke gets on the phone. He calls this fella named Bronson to meet him in Bangor and tells him to fly up. Don't know where he's coming from. Must be south. We get a shot of the living room for the credits. That's episode 21. Just some morning stuff. It's September. I keep thinking it's August. So, episode 22, this aired on July 26, 1966. Still on day 3. Still the morning. And we're over at the Evans cottage. I like the cup Maggie has. I need to make an attempt to draw these things since I don't have like screenshots. But I do pay attention to tableware maybe a little bit more than I should. This house has, I don't know if we've seen it before, it has the weirdest front door screens I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen this in a cartoon. I've never seen this in a movie, in another TV show, in a video game, in a dream, nowhere. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just so weird. You know what a screen door is like? It's like a regular door, but it's a screen, and it opens like a regular door. Okay, so what is happening with this house? It's like it has a proper front door that locks so that's wooden or whatever. But then you open that up, and the screen door, instead of like opening like that, there's a handle on the side. I don't understand this. It's like it's split right down the middle. So it's like you have these two wooden frames with screen in it and screen like this. It's like they both open up like this, and then you go in. It's not a door. It's these two little half doors that open in the middle. How is that better? How, like, Sam's an artist, he's got to carry stuff in and out. So how does like pushing open all these screen doors as an alcoholic? How is that? We don't even see it a lot. It's always there. Why? I've never seen that design anywhere. Who built the set? I don't know. I don't understand. I don't even know how to look those kind of doors like double screen doors that are. It's not like it is a Dutch doors where like the top one opens and the bottom stays. It's not like that. It's like it's a regular door split down the middle and then it opens up. But it's just the screen door. I'm not an architect. It wasn't a house flipper. I can't wrap my brain around it. But that's what those doors are like. Like it doesn't trigger me. But the first time I noticed that's the way those doors were, I don't understand. It's almost like when you go to pull on a door, but it's a push door, and like, oh, I'll just lift from the bottom. It kind of feels like that. Like I couldn't open the door from the side, so I'm just going to open it from the middle. I had a cat. If he was hanging out in the room and I had the door closed and he wanted out, he would just walk up to the door on the side that it opened at, and he would look up at it. And if I didn't get up after a couple of seconds to open the door for him, he would just walk to the other side of the door where the hinges are and look up at it. Like if it didn't open one way, he expected it to open the other way. Like that was his cat logic. So like what cat designed this? I'm harping on it too much. I just don't understand these doors. I would just open one and try to like slide through sideways. Like damn, I feel skinny. It's after 10 a.m. Burke is looking for Sam. And Maggie had the newspaper out. She was reading about Roger's car accident in the paper. And then Burke tells her it's attempted murder. And then, intro credits, we come back, we're still in the cottage. Uh, Burke's drinking some coffee. And he turns to Maggie and says, why don't you make coffee like this at the restaurant? What the hell? Then Maggie calls Collinsport a hick joint. There is a picture of, I mentioned before, one of the drawings in the background. It's this picture of a lady, real pretty lady, sort of looking down and away, like big hair, kind of swoops around, just gorgeous picture. And it's just in a little bit different place in this episode. And Burke notices it. Is that when he notices it? Maybe that's when I noticed it for the first time. But it's like sometimes it's hung up on the wall, sometimes it's set somewhere, but it's always there. But Maggie asks, does any of this have to do with her father? And Burke says that's up to him. And Maggie lets him know that Sam's out painting and he picks up odd jobs from ad agencies and he has lots of, years of good work ahead of him. And she starts to get defensive. And she does worry about her dad. If that doesn't come across, she's always asking for folks to, like, oh, if you've seen my pop, let me know. Oh, has he been in here? You can tell she's calling around to check up on him because he drinks, he wanders around. She doesn't know what he's up to. She worries. That's her only family. So, what is she, and then he doesn't tell her any information. So she's worried. She doesn't know what's going on. That's kind of just where she's at. John Rogers, they sell the curtains online with the magnets that hold it together in the center. Yeah, it's almost like you would think it's not beads, but you have to open it up in the middle to walk through. They usually don't fiddle with it. Like if somebody's walking in the door, like the screen's already put, like the actors are not fiddling with the screen door, so it's just there. But you can tell the difference between this much door and a proper size door. So it's like, what's with these kitty children's doors? Oh, just nothing. We received your pavement. Yeah, I know that when I sent it. There's no reason for you to not get it. So back at the Collinsport Inn, Roger phones Liz back at Collinwood. And he's just checking in. He's letting her know it's all good with his car insurance. And he's just there having a coffee. And while he's sitting there, off of the phone now. He didn't have his cell phone. He had to use like the phone booth. But Sam wanders in and he invites himself to sit down. And donuts! I think that's twice now. Donuts are front and center. Yep, it sure is. Episode 22. Hells yeah. Just watch what they do, because sometimes they pick one up. They're not going to pick up the powdered donut, so like just watch how they it's real food. Just watch what they do with it. Like you can't be eating in every single, every take. But Sam asks if Burke was involved with Roger's car accident. And Roger lets him know that Burke, he was seen in my garage with a wrench. And he was going to drop it if Burke left Collinsport, but now he'll see him behind bars. So I guess he did a 180 last night. Alright, when I watched Dark Shadows, Roger and Liz never left Collinsport. Liz never leaves Collinwood, but that includes that's not just the house, that's the ground. It's up on a hill, it's private property. So it's what we know of so far, it's the actual house, plus you've got Matthew Morgan's cottage there, there's a garage. Like there are like woods and lots of land, so you can go for like a walking around for like an hour or more. Widow's Hill is out there too, and that's all considered Collinwood. That's just where Liz stays. She never goes into town. Roger seems to. He does have a job at the cannery. He's got an office there. But it doesn't seem like he goes there every day. Maybe we just don't see that part. Maybe the actor's just not on the show for us to see that. But he does technically have a job in town. Arnia Collinwood, yeah. Um, I want to say Liz never leaves town, but Roger may. I just don't know. Sometimes they're just like, oh, I'm going to Boston, I'm going to Bangor. Like, we don't get to see Boston. They're just like, oh, Boston was like this. And We went shopping, blah, blah, blah. So Roger is saying to Sam that only himself and Sam know what happened 10 years ago. And if one of them dies, the other one wouldn't have to worry. Okay, yeah, here we go. Back at the Evans cottage, I knew that was a picture of Maggie's mom. And this show makes me want to drink coffee. That's why I got back into drinking coffee. It just at one point, I don't think I exactly wrote it down, but at one point it's yeah, Burke's there, you know, he's sipping his coffee, and there's that picture of that lady, and he mentions like wow, you know, your mom was a really pretty lady, and Maggie's like, yeah, she was. So we just know that her mother has passed away at some point. We get that narrowed down a bit more at some point in the future, but right now all we know is just she's just not no longer with us. But Maggie asks why Burke came back to Collinsport, as she'd never want to see that town again if she left. Burke says he doesn't hate anyone. He and Sam were always close. So this is when Sam comes back home, and he sees Burke there, and he is not happy about it. And Burke says, yeah, Maggie thinks I have a grudge against you. And Sam starts going off. The conversations in this house are like a DM. It's like you don't talk about things that we discuss privately to strangers that happen to walk. Like he's just going off on her. Like don't talk about stuff we discuss privately. So Burke offers Sam $1,000 to paint his portrait. How much is that worth? So $1,000 in 1966. What? Damn! Woo! $1,000 in 1966 is $9,970.62 today. Wow! So that's a reasonable, like 10 grand sounds like a reasonable price to have a portrait done. I guess it's a lot of sittings and a lot of paint and a big canvas and a frame. Sure, that's reasonable. I don't know if these are legitimate back in the day type of prices either. I don't know if that was like a low amount for back then. I don't know if that was a high amount for back then. All I've got is my currency converter. Oh, and yeah, that foreshadows Sam painting Barnabas. Yeah, I'm like, hey, Sam's getting back into doing portraits. I know this is going to be important later. I shouldn't, but I do. Yep. So he's kind of like getting his back into the groove of painting because even Maggie said it's not like he's been doing a whole lot the last 10 years. But Sam says no, and Maggie is right there right away, and like Pop, we could really use the money. And Burke's like, yeah, I want one of those big portraits, something that could hang up in a place like Collinwood, maybe. So over at Collinwood, we're in the living room. Joe phones Carolyn to ask about Roger and about going to lunch. So Roger is just now coming back home. He did have his arm in a sling. He did, he had the wrist wrapped up, but he also had his arm in a sling. So it's been like that since yesterday. Drink air quotes. He says his wrist is healing, so that's good. Just seems like maybe it was just a really bad sprain or something. Like when he wrecked it, it's his left side, so driver's side might have smashed into it. Carolyn asks him, "You're gonna have Burke arrested?" And she does it again. She licks her top lip. I told you about that. She doesn't think he's guilty, and neither does Victoria. And then she's saying if Burke messed with Roger's car, she's the one that brought him to Collinwood. And Roger, she's kind of trying to blame herself, but Roger's like, Burke's been griefing me for 10 years. So he came to town, my car crashed, I'm going to put him away for life. And there's Carolyn with no proof. Roger's like, don't need it, don't care. Those facts are more important than evidence. So Carolyn apologizes for defending Burke so vehemently. And apparently Roger's wrist is healthy enough to hold a glass because he's going to the wet bar. It's none of this, so it's just like it's still wrapped up, but just not in the sling. So just knocking him back. Patrick, it depends on the painter, I suppose. Yeah, not everybody can just paint. Like some people can't paint, humans. So that's if you're doing landscapes, and then you got to paint a person. Maybe it's a stick figure. I don't know what their focus is, what they studied on. So we're back over at the Evans cottage, and Burke is sitting while Sam is doing a sketch. And then he offers to take Maggie to work. Like, no, that's okay. I can do the rest of the sitting later. And then he tells them he's staying in Collinsport. And a shot of the foyer for the credits. Sam's a good painter. Like I was saying, that there's like stuff on the docks. He can paint people. There's like one painting of like some old man, all different kinds of styles. So he knows what he's doing. All right, episode 23 was on July 27th, 1966. Still that third day. It's the morning still. All right, we're in the living room at Collinwood. A new character here. It's the constable. His name is Jonas Carter. They usually just call him the constable, or just sometimes Mr. Carter, but usually just say, "Oh, I'm gonna phone the constable." What does the constable? So they don't really. They call him by his title, not his name. This guy. But he has already looked at Roger's car, and Roger says it's attempted murder. And then Liz tells Roger that Victoria received a letter that could cause trouble for Victoria. But Roger doesn't have time, doesn't want to hear about it. So the constable knows Roger thinks Burke is guilty. So that's all he's going to hear out of him. Up in David's room. It must be like lesson time. So it's David's sitting there at his desk that's basically in front of the camera, and Victoria's just off to the side, just trying to teach him. But he just gets so distracted and starts asking questions about whatever and just cannot focus on his schoolwork. But David asks her, what's the worst thing Victoria ever did? And I'm thinking, what could this girl have done? I mean, like, yes, she grew up in an orphanage, but she seems like a nice girl. What could she have done? But Vicky says one time she gave another girl a bloody nose, and that's probably the worst thing she ever did. Just got into a fist fight. And then there's David. Did you ever try to kill someone? Victoria's like, no. And then David just sort of wonders aloud why his dad never liked him. Down to the living room, Roger went to see Burke before he called the cops. And tells the constable that, and he's like, yeah, yeah, smooth move. And he tells him that he saw, or Victoria said she saw Burke in the garage. So the constable just wants to question her directly. Why do all the emails come in so late? It's not about anything either. Uh, so we're back up in David's room. Liz comes up to tell Victoria to come downstairs. And David just freaks out. The police are here! Patrick, Constable was a good painter, but I don't think any of the other ranks was very good. Yeah, this is what. Now that I'm thinking about this, I don't think we get to see what Sam's drawing. I forget if he's right or left-handed. But I guess we didn't. I just No, he must have had the when look at me, I'm sketching Burke Devlin. See, so it was like that. But down in the foyer, everybody's in there talking. So of course, David, the doors are closed, but David opens the door just enough, like a few inches, so the camera can see inside. Because of course he has to eavesdrop. And Victoria's just confirming that she saw Burke Devlin with a wrench. And Roger's like, this is a waste of time. And the constable asks, well, does Burke have a reason to hate you? Roger's like, well, he seems to think so. He's not admitting nothing. And they're saying, Burke was really nice when he was up at Collinwood, and Victoria never heard him make any threats. And the constable says that he remembers that Burke threatened to kill Roger 10 years ago. And someone could have removed the valve after Roger returned yesterday, but before Burke Devlin entered the garage. So it could have been someone else. So they decide that the constable, Roger, and Victoria go to find the wrench out in the garage. Oh, that's right, Patrick. John Constable, a very famous English painter. Now that makes sense. All right. I always wish I don't know that much art. I wish I could look at a painting like, that's a Rembrandt. That's a Renoir. That's a stuff that's not like you can look at a Van Gogh and know that was his style, or a Picasso, but so they're going to the garage to find that wrench. Over in the foyer, Liz knows that David was eavesdropping. And while she understands why, she still sends him upstairs. Like, just go back upstairs. But he doesn't. And David just keeps answering questions. So Liz goes into the living room, and David just will not stop. She's getting frustrated. And this is when David learns that fingerprints are evidence. So he gets nervous about that. Then those three come back in. They did find the wrench. It's the It's not like just a wrench. It's a kind where like there's that little thing on the side, so you can screw it to make it go like that and make it go like that. If you twist the little thing, I don't know what that's called, but it's one of those kind. It's not an Allen wrench. It's not a screwdriver. You can tell I'm a girl. I just don't know. So this wrench is wrapped in just a cloth, and the constable sets it down on. There's a table that's kind of just in front of the camera in the living room. He just kind of sets it down there, and then it's a ways away from the phone. It's in the front of the shot. The phone's back over. Art said, Constable was an excellent painter. Patrick, I think he did mainly landscapes, but they are worth millions now. Oh. All right, yeah, in America, Constable is a local cop. Just looking this up. Uh is it John Constable? Can I spell? John. Maybe I'll recognize one. Maybe not. Ooh, wow. Pretty clouds, too. Oh, yeah. Portraits, trees, skies, daytime. Very nice. Ooh, cool stuff. Thanks. Say it's classy. It's there's no like nude people or anything. So, like I say, the constable sets that wrench down on the table. It's kind of wrapped in a cloth. And then he crosses the room to use the phone. Everybody's kind of looking at him, like Roger, Liz, Victoria. But David is looking at that table, and he's watching the cop. He's looking at the table. He's watching the cop, and he's slowly walking up to it because nobody's looking his way. And then he accidentally like knocks it on the ground and then immediately dives for it, gets it in his hand like this. I like could not pick it up fast enough, like oops. Roger yells at me, "What are you doing knocking that over?" Just going off at him. And the constable's like, "Oh no, that's okay." And shot up David's bedroom for the credits. Like that wasn't suspicious at all. Episode 24. This aired July 28, 1966. We're still on that third day. It's the afternoon. And we're at the Collinsport Inn at the restaurant. And Carolyn comes in. She's carrying these three big boxes, like, with ribbon, like gifts. Like, they're not heavy, they're just big, and just sets them on a table. And she heads over to the phone booth. And the constable's walking in there. Maggie's working behind the counter, and he asks her if she's seen Burke. And Maggie said she saw him a couple hours ago, but doesn't know where he is. So Carolyn's done with her phone call. She hangs up. I guess she was on the phone with Joe. And she orders some burgers and some coffees. Has a burgers cooked medium. Maybe she learned her lesson from the other day. And Maggie asks if she's meeting Burke Devlin because the constable was looking for him. There's Carolyn. She's like, "Does everyone in Collinsport know what I do?" And Maggie mentions how Burke Devlin used to pose for Sam when he was a kid. And asks, did Roger and Burke ever bring up Sam's name? Carolyn is just completely clueless. Why would they? So Joe comes in. He's off. He's got like his hour lunch break, so he's just meeting her there for lunch. Then he's got to go back to the office. And he comes in and he's super happy. He's got a big smile on his face. Until Carolyn says that they were discussing Burke Devlin. So just over in the lobby, through those double doors, the constable wants to talk to Burke up in his room. But Burke's gonna pick up some lunch in the restaurant first. So in the restaurant, Joe is asking if Carolyn thinks Burke is guilty, and Carolyn doesn't want to talk about it. So Joe starts telling her about he found a boat that he can afford in a few months. Instead of a year, because he's going to go half season in on it. He's got a buddy, a work buddy, Jerry Gertz, similar sort of temperament to himself. Except Jerry married his girl. And Carolyn she doesn't want to be pressured. And Joe says he's tired of asking. So this is when Maggie is telling Burke that the constable was looking for him. And then Burke walks up to Carolyn and Joe's table. And Joe says, "You're not invited." And Carolyn says she's going to be going home in 30 minutes when Joe goes back to work. And if Burke's... he just takes off from the table. He's not invited. And Joe's like, one of these days, I'm going to go off on that motherfucker. Of course, not in those words, but he's just... this dude's had enough. One of these days, it's going to be on sight. Or, yeah, a wrench. Just whatever kind of wrench, yeah, thing. Up in Burke's room, he's telling the constable that he did not try to kill Roger. He says he's a peace-loving man. And he doesn't want to kill anyone. And the constable lets him know that his fingerprints were found on that wrench. So Burke says, yeah, that's because I went to Collinwood. I saw Roger and Elizabeth, and I looked at Roger's car, sat behind the wheel, picked up the wrench. Victoria came in. He went home, and then he went to the Blue Whale to wait for Roger. He says, if I was guilty, I wouldn't have come back here for you to ask me questions. I think I wrote that down. Maybe it's supposed to be, if I was guilty, would I have come back here for you to ask me questions? Yeah, that's right, because there's a question mark. It's not a direct quote. It's close enough. And he said he didn't come back to Collinsport to kill anyone. So back over in the restaurant, Maggie's saying that Burke Devlin called down for Carolyn to come up. But it's not like that. It's okay, the constable's up there. It's not like that. So up in Burke's room, she goes up there and he has her say, yeah, the reason why he was at Collinwood in the first place was because she invited herself up to go see him. So he just wants Carolyn to say that it was her idea to come up to his room, and she wouldn't leave unless he drove her home. That's why he was there. So the constable tells him not to leave town. And Carolyn really did believe that Burke was leaving town in a couple of days. That's why she asked him up to Collinwood. And then she mentions that Maggie said that Sam is painting Burke's portrait now. And Burke's like, yeah, plans change. And she just asks him flat out if he tried to kill her Uncle Roger, and Burke says no. So that's all they have to do. They take off, and then Burke gets a phone call. It's that dude Bronson. And they arrange for Burke Devlin is going to meet him in Bangor in 1.5 hours. We get 10:55 on the clock. Shot of the lobby for the credits. That might be one of those clocks that doesn't move around too much, but based on it being 10 o'clock before, it can be 10:55. That makes sense. I'll go with that in universe time. That sounds reasonable. Episode 25. This aired on July 29th, 1966. It's afternoon on the third day. In Victoria's room, David sneaks in. Yeah, finds a letter. He's always snooping around. Roger comes, finds him with Victoria's letter, and yells at him. So David just runs out. That's a dick. But David runs to his room. Roger's right there behind him, and he's telling him that reading mail not addressed to you is the same as stealing. And David just says he was reading the letter. He thinks the Foundling Home wrote to Victoria to have him sent away. So down in the living room, Victoria's there saying that David's been acting weird since Roger's car accident, and then he thought he was going to be arrested. And Liz is like, this is no time for David's fantasies. And she's sure no one tried to kill Roger except Burke Devlin. And Roger comes down. He's like, well, except for David, he thinks I want him jailed. And he tells her to lock up her letter. So back up in David's room, he's reading one of these mechanic magazines. And Victoria goes up there. She notices there's just magazines about fixing things, like cars and whatnot, just mechanical, boy stuff. Not to be sexist, but you know how it is. And David just causes trouble for himself. But Victoria tells him that Roger can't send David to the Foundling Home because he's not an orphan. But David doesn't believe her. And he says he didn't mess with Roger's car. And Victoria says, nobody says you did. David does come off like part of him is like this evil mastermind, but the other part of him is just like a regular, normal, scared little kid, and it's just trying to mesh together, and it's really not. Maybe I'm psychoanalyzing a child too much, but down in the living room, Liz is telling Roger about the PI that was sent after Victoria by Burke. And she doesn't want the Collinsport Police Department to know about it. Because that's just going to start Victoria asking questions again. And then Roger wonders how did Liz hear about Victoria when she's been at Collinwood for 18 years? Like, now he's trying to put it together. And Liz says, You recommended her to me. Roger says, I did not. So Liz tells him, That's what you'll tell her, or you'll live somewhere else. So you'll have to make up a name she can't check. I hired her for private reasons. You help or you walk. That's not verbatim, but basically. This is the most, well, like we've seen Liz mad before, but we've never seen her be so rigid about a subject. Like, no, I'm telling you, this is what you will do. So up in David's bedroom, he apologizes for calling Victoria a liar, and he says he doesn't lie. And then Roger wants to speak with Victoria. So they go downstairs, and up in Victoria's room, David sneaks in again and finds that letter in her dresser. He's just on about that letter. Uh, that's what AI says. I don't know, man. That could be true. It could be not. We will find out. So I'm not gonna, yeah, I'm not asking AI or Grok anything. I don't want to know the devil's answer to a thing. I've seen the show. I know it happens, but I can't spoil it here. Because why would you watch the? I mean, yeah, you could watch the show and get ahead of me and know what's gonna happen. I don't know if anybody's doing that. That's okay though. Yeah, down in the living room, Roger thinks that Burke hired that PI to ask about Victoria. Doesn't know why, but he could be trying to find out something about the Collins family. Like just the thought of somebody trying to get information about the family is enough to set him off. And Victoria mentions that Roger, he's like, or she's like, you acted like you never heard of recommending me when I arrived. And no one at the foundling home had heard of the Collins family. And Roger's got an answer for that. It's well, the foundling home runs on anonymous donations. A New York lady was impressed by you, and just then the phone rings. It's the constable, picks up, and Roger's pissed. All the constable did was talk to Burke and didn't arrest him. And then he tells Victoria to forget about the letter. So Victoria goes back up to her room, looks for that letter that was telling her about that PI. It's just gone. But who's been fucking with her room the most? David. So she goes into his room and she's searching around. Opens that top dresser drawer. Sticks her hand in there. Finds that valve in the dresser. Credits. Holy shit. Patrick saying John Constable paintings sold for 22,441,250 pounds in 2012. So that's pounds. If you convert it to USD, it's going to be a higher amount. Holy shit. All right, episode 26, August 1st, 1966. Still that third day, it's the afternoon. We're in the hallway upstairs at Collinwood. We see David, that door that's way at the far end of the hall that's, always locked. Well, David's coming out of that door at the end of the hallway. He hands Victoria back that letter. And Victoria's just like, she's just so sad at him. She's like, why did you do it? Opens up her hand. She's got that valve there, showing it to David. And she's got to go show Liz. But she goes into her room first, and David fights with her. He follows her in, and then he fights with her. She's trying to stick that valve in her dresser drawer and lock it, and the whole like it's a physical altercation. He's trying to grab at her. She's trying to push him away. He's trying to get him off of her. Gets it in there. Gets the key in the lock. Turns it. Then she's like, wait. Let me show you where I found it. David's like, kind of calms down, like, well, okay. She's like, yeah, sure, I'll show you. He's walking out first. She's like, yeah, so all I was doing was I went out of the door, I went into your room, and at this point, David's outside the door. She slams her own door shut and locks it. Got his ass. I didn't even see that coming. Good for her. So now I don't think we've seen this before. The police department, it's just a wanted posters on the wall, coffee cups, water cooler, a desk, chairs, paperwork, a window. You know what a police department would, in a small town, would look like. Doors. The constable knew that Roger would be. Roger just shows up, and the constable knew he'd be in because he didn't arrest Burke. And he didn't arrest him because he doesn't have a case against him. So in Victoria's room, she's still locked in. David's outside banging on the door. So she hollers through the door, telling David that Roger will be home soon. And he's still out there pounding away. And back at the police department, Roger says that the constable's afraid of Burke's lawyers getting him off. And then implies that, maybe during the next election, people might decide that the constable needs to retire. So the constable, he's usually like pretty nice and lets some stuff slide by, but then he gets direct. He says a 10-year-old threat and a man standing next to your car are not evidence. And just Roger just, going off, like using his last name as, that makes him something. The Collins family employs half of Collinsport, and they've been there almost 300 years. And the constable's like, well, I'll follow the law whether you like it or not. And anyone who has that valve is a fool or a psycho. So back at the hallway, David walks away from Victoria's door, and she comes out. So down in the foyer, the clock chimes 3 p.m., All right, that's all right. Sorry for the spoiler. Maybe it's a spoiler. Maybe it's not. Maybe some of that's right. Maybe none of that's right. So Liz is just coming in the door. She's probably out for a walk or something. And oh god, this is now the door was something else. That's fine. This coat pisses me off. David is running. He's got his coat on, and he's trying to run outside. I I cannot stand this. There's probably a name for it. It's the kind of coat where, like, to fasten it closed on one side, it's just like rope, 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 and on the other side, it's like this wooden stick thing that you put through the rope, and there's it's the ugliest closure of a coat. I can't. I just can't, and it keeps happening. Ugh. You and I'm the only reason. It's not just that it's ugly. You can't tell me that that was the best kind of coat for a little rich boy in the '60s. You can't tell me there wasn't anything different. Oh, it's so ugly. It's like it's not corduroy, but it's ugh. Hate seeing that coat. Just let him go outside without it. Pretend it's summer. Don't put it on, but just oh, it's the ugliest damn coat. But whatever. I don't have to wear it. But he's running down the stairs. He's trying to run outside. Liz catches him, and then David's just going off. He's got to get out because Victoria tried to hurt him. That's what he says. And even Liz, she takes her coat, her wrap, just on the table, no hooks. And so she takes him into the living room, and David is explaining that saying that Vicky grabbed me and pulled me into her room, and says she doesn't seem like the type. And then David admits he, borrowed, air quotes, drank the letter, and now Vicky's gonna lie about me. And that's when Victoria comes in, and she tells Liz she wants to speak with her alone. So back in town at the police department, the constable got a search warrant for Burke Devlin's room, and Roger wants to go with him, but the constable says no. The constable he's got a guy in New York who is looking into Burke. Just some dude. We might have saw him on the phone at the beginning, but he's got a guy out of state. So over in the foyer, of course, David's eavesdropping. And in the living room, Victoria's telling Liz what happened with David. And that's when the phone rings, and it's Roger. And of course, there's that phone that's out in the foyer, so he's listening in on the phone call too. But it's Liz. She says that the constable is going to search Burke Devlin's room for the valve. And Victoria says, oh, he won't find it because I found it in David's room. And Roger said even a child could remove it. And Liz cannot believe it. And Victoria said, even you said he's a troubled boy. And then she says that valve is upstairs in her dresser. And so Liz goes with her to get it. So in Victoria's room, she unlocks that drawer, opens it up, and the valve is gone. And Liz is just looking at her like she just made up the whole thing, like she's the guilty one. Then we get a shot of the police department for the credits. And I think this is a good place to stop just because there's 16 minutes left. I don't want to blow through a whole episode that quickly. So we'll save that for the next time I'm live. I'm not gonna end the show early or nothing like that. I'm just gonna we can talk about something else for a minute. Yeah, as of right now, again, Frank does his every other Friday off, so the 12th, he's off, Swell Me On, and then the 13th is Saturday, so we will continue with this next week. And that'll also. I wanted to get in one more. I wasn't gonna rush, but after 27, we get a 3 disc recap, and that is just I started doing that. I don't know why. Maybe it was just because I was blowing through the discs so fast when I first watched it like a year and a half ago. But I kind of wanted to stop and collect my thoughts before I went ahead because I knew I was gonna forget what I just saw. So I got into the habit of doing that every 3 discs, and it kept up with it. Except one time when I screwed up and did it a disc too soon. But other than that, I've been okay. So it's just again, it's not going to be every 27 episodes. One disc has 4 episodes on it, and then all the rest of it are. It's like right when it's the same disc that has episode 210, so it has some extras on it. That's why there's only a few proper episodes on it, so that's why there's not going to be a recap exactly every 27 episodes. It might not make sense. I'm just following along with the discs. So yeah, we definitely see why now. As of right now, Roger and Burke don't get along. Um, it's a lot. Some things are a lot different when you get into episode 210. Some things are the same. Maybe there's some different. Maybe actors are recast. I was saying before that you can do a lot with 3 characters in an episode. My favorite trio of actors is not on the show yet, but once they are, other folks seem to like them together. So maybe it's not just me. When you brought up that painting, there's an episode it's in Turn Washington Spies. Uh, I don't know, season 2, but at one point there, one of the, like, say, magistrates, one of like the bigger people in town. There's like a party at the house, and somebody invites somebody else to look at a painting, like, oh, it's just arrived from Europe or just arrived from London, on the ship. So they go to look at it, and it's like, oh, it's so beautiful, it's so stunning. There's nothing like it in America. And like, to our mind, it's just like a flat landscape with not a lot going on, but they didn't have movies back then. They didn't have photos back then. So, like, yeah, that's phenomenal just to see, like, a landscape. Or, yeah, like, they don't even know who those people are. Patrick said, hopefully I'll be back from the march next Saturday. Should be London's only an hour from me by train. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. An hour? That's not so bad. Arnya, maybe Burke is really the big bad of the show. Maybe it's a misunderstanding. Maybe back in the day they were both in the wrong, but Roger's rich, so who are more people are gonna believe, the guy who comes from the rich family the town's named after, or I don't know how old Burke would have been at the time, but like the young man who had to scrape by for every nickel and dime that he had. Who is the jury more likely to side with? Was there anybody else involved in that accident that has not come up yet? Possibly. Was it more than Burke and Roger involved? Were there other witnesses, other victims. It all comes out on the show. It's not going to be a mystery. They lay it all out. And as mad as these folks are at each other now, you would be maybe surprised at what changes by the time we get to episode 210. It's we're really getting. It kind of makes me think a soap opera is kind of like bottle episodes of a regular show, where it really does feel like we're focused on just a few characters, and we get to understand their thought processes and how they interact with each other in separate areas. Like it might be Victoria and David, it might be Liz and Carolyn, it might be. So I think that's what's good about soap operas. We get a lot of character motivation. Maybe we're not getting chase scenes and explosions and oh my god, this house collapsed on somebody or something like that, but we get to know the people a little bit more, so it makes you more emotionally involved. I'm not saying like you're necessarily like crying when a character dies or gets hurt or something like that. All right, so maybe was it maybe Vicky driving and Burke got in the driver's seat, or am I hallucinating? I don't think she was involved. Well, if Vicky is like they even said she's 20, so 10 years ago she would have been 10. We don't know. I would assume they did not let 10-year-olds drive in 1966. I know things were more chill back then. I don't know how they did things at the orphanarium. Maybe they just didn't care and they just tossed some keys into the crowd and they're like, "Hey, just do it." I just so I don't think Vicky was involved back then. Let's assume Carolyn's around the same age. It couldn't have been any of these younger girls involved. The only other person who was I don't know about involved, but we did have mentioned that Roger's wife, like, that he got married right after Burke's trial. So and then Burke was also friends with Roger's wife. So that seems kind of awkward right there. You're friends with the lady. Next thing you know, she's marrying the rich guy. Uh, or yeah, maybe some other woman. Vicky could be another woman. Yeah, it could be. It really could. I get the feeling, and then look, why is Roger always so like secretive with Sam, talking about well, we both know what happened 10 years ago, so if one of us dies, the other one doesn't have to worry. It's almost like a threat the way he puts it. And I don't know how to describe the way Roger speaks. You almost think he was English, the way he's just so correct with his speaking, just this kind of accent that he has. It's maybe it's just the way posh people spoke back then, but he's very very articulate. He does have his very unique style of speaking, so much that you might think that the actor is not American. I don't know. Maybe it's sort of like it's not the same thing, but that it's like an accent, but it's not a real accent. Is it called the transatlantic accent? It's the way folks spoke in movies in the 1930s. Something more a little bit like how Cary Grant spoke, with some of the words that were used were a little bit more British pronunciation, or Connecticut, that area. Katharine Hepburn, the way she spoke, something like that. So it is very murky. It's like we know Burke and Roger were involved with something. Why does Sam seem to know about it? Why was Sam so worried about Burke coming back to town that he's been drunk for the last 10 years? And he's not telling his daughter about reasons for why he's been acting this way. All she knows is he's just been doing less painting and more drinking and just not opening up. So it's like some. I know what that's like. Things got shit 10 years ago, and you're just dealing with the rest, the fallout of it still. Oh, Beach App. You can watch Dark Shadows on Tubi right now. It's free. The link is in the description for this show and for the channel. They break it up into two parts. I'm covering Dark Shadows, the beginning. That is the episode 1 through 209, and then Dark Shadows with no subtitle. That's the one more people have seen. That's just everything else. That's episode 210 until the very end, 5 years. At the end of 5 years, at episode 1245. Patrick asking, have you seen Upstairs, Downstairs, a very English drama about Edwardian times? Some may like it. I've heard of that. I've heard of that, and just by the name of it, I know it has to deal with like the rich family and then like the people working for them. That sounds really interesting. That really does. Arden, yeah, there was a Hollywood accent that was a cross between English and American. Yeah, that you'll hear actors speaking that way, like 30s, 40s, like basically when we had sound and film. That's what flew back then. Or I love Margaret Dumont. She worked with the Marx Brothers a lot. I love the way she pronounces words. We just don't talk that way anymore. And then there's a lady. She plays Mickey Rooney's mom in Strike Up the Band. She speaks the exact same way. All right, yeah, 210 is where the good stuff happens. Actually, about 206 for me, I want to say, but definitely 210 is when things become iconic, and then at 211 and all the rest, and just stuff happens in the 200s. And my favorite episode is 494. It's like my favorite minute in the whole show. There's other great times in the show, but that just everything just kind of stopped. Wow, just how did I miss that a year and a half ago? But I don't know how I missed it the first time. It's literally a minute. It's 1 minute out of a show that went on for 5 years, so I can see why. But how did I'm glad I caught it. So yeah, don't forget your pants. As of right now, I won't be live again until the 12th on Friday. Yeah. So check out some Dark Shadows. Smash the like button if you haven't already. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you are subscribed. That helps out the channel as well. And get you something to eat, something to drink, smoke out on the balcony, stay based. If you do watch Dark Shadows, just watch the TV show. Don't watch the movie. Don't watch House of Dark Shadows, Night of Dark Shadows. Just watch the whole show as it is, and then you'll enjoy the supplementary material more if you've seen like the base show first. I couldn't. I would hate to pinpoint exactly. I'd be like, okay, you've seen this far into the show, so now you can watch this movie. Okay, you've seen that far into the show, now you can watch. I'm not quite that anal about it. So yeah, okay, y'all. See you later. Yeah, take it easy. John Rogers. Great night, everybody. Yeah, get you some good sleep. If you play Minecraft, tell us about it. I do want to build the balcony in vanilla. That way there's no extra barriers to it. You wouldn't have to. I don't want to build it in biomes of plenty, so people don't have to deal with CurseForge and an extra download. It's just if you buy Minecraft, I just want to build something that anybody could build in creative mode. Just because you're going to get extra blocks that you wouldn't get in vanilla. I want to just build something that anybody could build in vanilla, and then if they want to expand on it with mods, they can. But I just want to have like something baseline that's just something similar to the height and just the spaciousness when you're out there. And there's a hot tub. Well, it would be like hot tub there. Yeah. And then the sunset. That would be west for me, but west for you guys. So you guys are the best. Thank you for giving me a platform where I can see you guys. Well, just 1 day a week sometimes, but more when quite frankly's off. We really only spend 1 day away from each other, which is Sunday. So you guys are awesome for giving me this opportunity and for being Frankly's and just being yourself and giving me a chance and sticking with my technical difficulties. And it's just great. It's good to see your friends. It is weird to just be talking for 2 hours straight when you're not that type of person, but it's fun to keep it going. And you guys are the best. I wouldn't be here without you guys. I wouldn't have much of what I have in life without Frankly's. So thank you. And I love all you guys. But let's not get mushy here. So everybody, take it easy. Until next time.